going live. Here we go. And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because, you know what? I don't think we really need any other reason. Because sometimes that's all it takes to piss people off, so that they've got a reason to go out here and piss other people off because they won't answer a damn question. I'll explain about that in a minute. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin all over the place. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name, Shujin, assuming that I can actually speak without stumbling completely over my tongue tonight. I'm doing really good. Let me go ahead and introduce you to the rest of the crew because, well, that's kind of the point of the whole damn thing. Top left-hand corner of the bingo card, normally speaking, right now you're actually on the bottom left-hand corner of everybody's screen at the moment. Dalan, hi, good evening, welcome home.
Good evening, yes, it's good to be home and good to know that I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, yet.
One never knows. I know. Are you trying to summon the great God Murphy? Because that's how you summon the great... I know. I know. On the bright side, it's for a good cause. Money.
Oh, yeah.
So
no greater cause doth exist, and I'll fight anybody that says otherwise.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Down to the right from the Midwest of the U.S., where it's probably turning most witch nipples blue, I think last I heard. Brigid, good evening.
Good evening.
And just outside of Washington, D.C., where things are just... I don't even want to talk about it anymore. UnrenownedTech, good morning.
Good chilly morning.
I didn't get the chance to check in with you because I was busy getting my drink. You're on phone?
Yes, I'm on phone today.
Okay, that explains it. No worries. So, of course, as always, everybody, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Hope that you guys are going to have yourself a fun time. If you are watching live, and I know for well that there are a couple of folks over there, I know that's my face that you're obstructing. There are a couple of folks over there that are saying hi to us and participating in the live chat. If you are watching live, you can always do that. So tonight, Stephanie, Felix, hi guys, good to see you. Yes, it's going to be one of those days. So I got... Before we really get started on stuff, I do have a drink, but this is not going to seem like it's going to make too much sense. Specifically, 10 cents. Dalan, I would assume that you are somewhat familiar with said 10-cent coin from your homeland.
Yes.
You know what they're made out of?
I'm tempted to say nickel, but I could be wrong.
No, they used to have they used to have a little bit more nickel. They have a large assortment of steel, so they are rather magnetic these days. There's a reason for that. This little thing that looks like it should have been out of Hello Dory. I'm sorry, there's a Disney reference in there. Some people want to know what I'm going to be drinking. I'll explain in a couple of seconds. Don't worry, the magnets come in to this in just a second. I've got one of my favorite coffee mugs with me tonight. It is currently empty. See? And the reason why is because said magnet hooks on very nicely to my can of UCC coffee from Japan. This is not an aluminium... Yes, it is. This is not aluminium. This is... I don't even know what the hell it is. It's probably steel of some kind. I don't care. But I just find it so much fun that I could put a magnet on the side of this thing. Yes, sir.
When you were in Japan, did you ever drink Boss coffee?
No, as a matter of fact, the one that I did have was this very same brand, UCC. So
You never had the Boss coffee.
I've not heard of that one, no.
Okay, maybe it was so my SO introduced me to it, and it may have been a much later product. But we found a shop around here that sells the can these cans called Boss, and it's got a picture on it almost like Stalinish, and it's pretty strong coffee.
It doesn't surprise me. The
But
thing I
it's
love,
tasty.
oh yeah, the thing I love about this is the first smell that you get off of this is not coffee. Excuse me. It's the hazelnut. There's a big hit of hazelnut off of here, and then the coffee smell comes off. But it does have, it is sweet. It's got cream, and considering that it's, well, canned coffee, it's frozen the whole time. Okay, that actually scared me. I put the can down right next to the magnet, forgot the magnet was right there, and suddenly it just grate on me there. So no, tonight there is no beer in the cards for me tonight. However, you might have noticed that my 5-minute freestyle tonight is specifically titled beer. Now, there's a reason for that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to tell the other guys what it's all in reference to. So, Brigid, if you'd be so kind to type in the group chat for us, so that the guys know who I'm talking about, because I'm not going to name names, but
You know,
that's good stuff.
funny story. The place I was at, or like we were out at a restaurant there that last night, and I'd ordered a beer, what they call a coffee porter. So it's a dark beer, kind of like Guinness, but it has a very strong coffee taste.
Mm-hmm.
And so then one of the people I was with, they ordered an IPA, and after I expressed to them my condolences, waiter comes around and he brings 2 glasses and sets what looks like an unfiltered IPA in front of me, and rather clear looking beer to the other guy. I went, I think they missed the beers. He went, yeah, you're right. So we switched before taking a sip, but then I smelled one. I'm like, this is still a pale ale. This is not what I ordered. Or was it? Because I didn't really know. I'm like, yeah, screw it. Started drinking it. Waiter shows up about 5 minutes later. I'm 1/3 done the glass. He goes, I brought you the wrong beer. I'm like, okay. So 2 minutes later, coffee, and the other beer was on the house. So 2 for the price of 1.
Oh, good. That's actually really good. So cool. So, and Stephanie is saying, and I don't know, Stephanie, if you're making reference to the 10-cent piece or the can, because she's saying super fine steel. The stuff is so fancy it cannot be reused. When recycled, it only makes superfine steel, which is not quite up to what is needed. The can. Okay, I honestly have no idea. However, if it can be turned into shredded steel, all you need is a 9-volt battery and you can survive the zombie apocalypse, because then you can make yourself some fire, right? That's how that works, right?
That's how that works.
That's how that works. It's fine. I don't care.
Right.
Shut up.
I'll go with it. We'll go with
that. Anyway, let me go ahead and get everything started over here, because something tells me we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight, because I have to tell you about the guy that I dealt with earlier, which is going to come on the heels of the guy that I dealt with earlier. So with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. Beer. You guys know full well, I've been trying different beers. There's some all right, I don't want to say liked. I want to say tolerated. There are a couple of them that I've actually liked. But you know how they say that if there's food that you have to learn to like, it's kind of like, what's the expression? Having Stockholm syndrome with food, and who in the hell wants that? Anyway, so earlier this week, I found out that somebody that I know and respect was kind of not having a good day. We know full well that, every once in a while, it happens. We all have our ups, we all have our downs. I have had more than my fair share of downs, unfortunately, over the last longer than I'd really like to explain. And how much so? Again, I really don't want to explain. But people who have been around me long enough know full well that I have said on many an occasion that I say on many an occasion. Sorry, meta moment there. I have said many times over, friends do what they can when they can. And, you know, it's a simple enough thing to think about because, you know, if a friend were to come to you and say, look, I need help with blah. Generally speaking, it doesn't really much matter what it is. If it's something that's not really that onerous, you're going to go ahead, you're going to help them out. They need to move house. That is a little bit more difficult, of course, because, you know, you could actually hurt yourself. But generally speaking, most of the time, you know, we're willing to help with stuff that's a little bit more. But every once in a while, there comes a moment of brilliant ingenuity, and am I playing it up for myself just a little bit, but I'll explain why it's really great. A buddy of mine does not live anywhere near me currently, so, you know, it is what it is. And I've respected him for quite a while. I envy a good portion of his smarts in electronics. I would really love to be able to do some of the stuff that he does. It just hasn't played out that way. But I found out he was having a bad day. He was really having a bad day. And he basically said, look, I'm not having a good day. I'm really not in a good place in my head. But I really shouldn't be alone, I don't think. But I'm really not the type of person to, you know, talk with people, but I don't want to be alone exactly. So I'm going to be sitting over here at the bar and, you know, just sitting down with my laptop and coding and you know, maybe that'll help. And did it up on social media where there was a geotag that said right where he was. And I looked at it and went, you know what? Let's let's be sneaky. And I asked, do these people actually know you where the place that you're at right now? Well, you know what? There's nobody here that I recognize, but yeah, I come here kind of relatively frequently. So I said, okay. So I pulled up the information about the place that he was sitting at. He had been seated 10 minutes before that. I found the phone number for the establishment, and I called. And I said, hey, Randy, because Randy was the name of the person. And hey, Randy, there's a buddy of mine that's sitting over there at a table, got seated about 10 minutes ago. He's got a laptop, he's got long hair, and he's a little bit of a bigger guy, and he's not having a really great day. Could I buy his beer? You got a Visa card? I got a Visa card. We can buy him his beer. Did he pay for it yet? No. I'd like to buy his beer. And when you go over there and tell him that his beer is paid for, tell him that it's from me. Tell him that it's from Shujin. Tell him that it's from Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. And I let him know. Never, ever think, no matter how far away you actually are, that you're ever far from our thoughts. And you know what? I have no idea how much it cost. I don't care. All I know is that for one moment, I did a good. I did a really good. And you know what? The better part about it was I didn't buy him a friggin' grasshopper. This is episode 287 on the docket, Your Honor. I didn't say you're wrong. I don't know how many times I've had to deal with this exact expression over the last, let's see, how long has this impeachment thing been going on right now? You know, it's been on my mind a lot, because it's not just that's been going on. Every once in a while, you will find out that the HCTV Twitter account does occasionally interact with the theist folks. Not very often, but every once in a while. And I had to deal with somebody who was basically saying, look, God created the universe. How do you justify that? Well, it says in the Bible, right there, chapter 1, verse 1, God created it all. Okay, so how do you justify that? Because a lot of other groups have said that too. I think my favorite thing about it was they asked, well, how do you justify trying to figure out what happened before everything began? And my answer to that was basically, we've always experienced time as before and after. The concept that there might be a different form of time that we don't know anything about at that point is something really extra special to investigate. So why can't we go looking? I have yet to hear anything back from this personality. I'm being nice. I cleaned myself up. I wanted to say douche nozzle, but I wasn't. Then was okay. I didn't say. Dalan, fix that in the edit. Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, that's part of what's been going on, and yeah, we'll deal with that in a little bit. I did go looking up information on Rafe Badawi. Guess what?
There's nothing new.
There's nothing new. Which is annoying because I keep finding new articles that pop up for me, and it's just like, oh, I haven't seen this article. This is from August of the last year. Great, that's brilliant. Thank you, News Population Services. Whatever. So, as of the recording of tonight's show, this has now been 7 years, 5 months, 11 days since Rafe Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crimes. Our hopes, our thoughts are still with you and your family. We are still hoping, and we are still waiting. So, I didn't say you're wrong. It's a hard concept to get our heads around because we are so used to you're right or you're wrong. Because the simple is the whole 0-1. Yes, no. Right, wrong. The whole somewhere in between the qubit portion of quantum computing, I used it correctly. Dalan, I know that you're looking at me like that. Don't give me that look. I know. I know the difference between quantum and quantum qubits. Quantum computing is wow. That's really freaky. But, being able to tell people, look, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you haven't proven your point. I'm not saying that you're right because you haven't shown that you're right, but I'm not saying that you're wrong because you haven't gotten to the thing yet. So I don't know how to deal with this part really because, well, these kinds of concepts and arguing are not fun because people think that we're talking down to them. Brigid, I want to start over with you on this one and kind of take this sideways. You know a little something about medicine and the military and military medicine. Have you ever had people just kind of deal with you talking in your wheelhouse and they're just like, well, you just snooty, highly educated pushpin person talking down to me because I don't know what the hell I'm talking. You've never had, I'm assuming you've never had anybody really deal with that with you, I would hope.
I actually really haven't. Because I try really hard not to talk over people's heads, but not to be condescending either. and so far, I've been pretty good at that. Seriously.
No, I believe. I'm sorry. I'm coughing because my throat is a little bit dry, but I'm also laughing, which is causing the coughing because I finally looked over at the live chat.
Because I've had a vet do that to me before, and it really pissed me off.
Wait, a vet?
Yeah.
Really?
Not a veteran, but a veterinarian.
No. I got that.
Yes, because I remember when I was in my third year of nursing school, I had to take the dog to the vet. She was, very sick. She almost died. He almost freaking killed her too, but that's another story. But I asked to see her labs, and he said, "You won't be able to tell anything from that." And I was like, "Don't you dare tell me what I can and cannot tell. I want to see her freaking labs now." Oh, I was so mad. And
okay, to be fair.
And then I told him that he pushed her, the gentamicin IV too quickly, and that was what caused her seizure. And he's like, "Well, you don't know what you're talking about. When did you go to veterinarian school?" And I said, "I didn't, but I'm in nursing school and I know what the hell I'm talking about. They give me her damn labs."
Okay. I was going to say, to be fair,
he had that coming. When he popped off with, "When did you go to veterinarian school?" He had it coming.
No, I would tend to agree with you. However, if you paid for the services for the med work, why shouldn't you be allowed to look at the stuff anyway? And if you can't make heads or tails out of it, well, yeah, and so what? What skin off of their nose?
I wonder that myself.
And HIPAA didn't apply to dogs back then.
Hold on. Text trying to talk.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I'm trying to wonder. I wonder about that too myself. It seems like doctors and nurses really don't want to turn over the paperwork, and I have to wait until I get like an itemized list from my insurance company to see what the hell they put down on some of the stuff. It's like, wait a minute. If I'm the patient and that's my paperwork, I'm legally allowed to see my freaking own documentation. This is my body. This is, I'm the, or maybe it's my child or my pet or whatever. I'm paying the money. Let me see it.
Yep. I would tend to agree with you on that one too. But then again, I also had a highly diabetic cat that was entertaining.
Yeah, we have a diabetic cat as well.
Yep. When
baby.
when the vet tells you that the glucose came back in the 600 range, you kind of yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Kitty was we
in bad shape.
Yeah. We held him on for quite a while and helped him equalize out pretty well for quite a while. Unfortunately, anyway,
poor kitty.
He's no longer with us, and there's a whole slew of stuff that I'm really not able to remember very well anymore because bad overall seasons for me. Trauma does that to the brain.
Yeah.
Backtracking just a second, by the way. Stephanie was asking, a grasshopper? I've missed out on that. Okay. Forgive me for backtracking just a little bit. My favorite drink to get at a bar is called a grasshopper. It is a frou-frou drink. So if you go to ask for this, expect to pay a little bit extra just to watch the bartender go,
why?
I think I know how to still make that. Because the first time that I did it in public was at Anthrocon when all of us at TFC got together, and I did it in the bar over there. A grasshopper. It is equal parts cream de mint, cream de cocoa, milk, add ice, shake it up, put it into a clear glass, and give to your customer. And they take it and they walk to the table, and everybody looks at it and goes, "What the fuck
What the
is that?"
hell is that?
And I get to hold it up, and I get to get away with the old Star Trek line. It is green. Now, if you're wondering, how does it taste? It's basically mint milk. Basically, is really what it comes down to. But it is somewhat alcoholic. It's not going to get you drunk by any stretch of the imagination. You'll probably end up vomiting a lot before you get drunk off of this stuff. But it's so much fun to watch the bartender go, "Oh, okay, I think I remember how to make that. Let me just make sure I've got ingredient whatever." But it's great. It's fun, and the person that I did not send the grasshopper to, I don't know if they would have appreciated it. But you know what? Next time it happens, I'm sending them a grasshopper, and if he doesn't like it, I don't care, because it will give him a smile at that point, and he'll feel compelled to try it at least. It'll be worth it. Anyway, I'm sorry. Moving right along. So, yeah, the idea that the folks in medicine sometimes won't do that. Yeah, that's kind of hinky to me. I mean, let's face it, it is really, really not typical for the general lay public to really know about internal medicine and what medical labs and blood work and oxygen levels would actually mean. By the way, for instance, most people would not know that when they put the little light clippy thing on your finger to check your oxygen saturation levels, yeah, they should be damned near 100%. Not, but damned near.
Oh, I can believe me. I've got some
Yeah.
experience with those particular devices, and trust me, when you see that even hovering as low as something with an 8 at the beginning,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
You're in
feel
trouble.
it. You feel it, and
Yep.
trust me, I've been lower than that
I have too.
once or twice, and well, let me put it this way.
It's not fun.
Well, you know, any kind of movie where, or any kind of TV show or something like that, where you see somebody struggling to breathe,
Yep.
I have a hard time watching those nowadays because I feel it. It is not a good feeling. As a matter of fact, I would say the feeling kind of sucks. So yeah, every time one of those things goes on, if I'm able to see the device that measures everything, I'm watching it like a hawk. Just because I'm always curious. Okay, what's it going to be today?
Mine's usually 99%, but when I had pneumonia after getting the flu, it had dropped down to 74%. And of course, they admitted me immediately.
Oh, I can't imagine why.
Yeah,
But
my
I was
lowest.
drowning.
Yeah, my lowest since everything finally got sorted out has been about 95.
That's still okay. I was going to say that's still a good number. Let me rephrase that. That's still an acceptable,
Acceptable,
but
Yeah.
not
not
great.
having to be on supplemental oxygen, but
Concerning.
even Medicare will pay for supplemental oxygen at 78%, and I was below that. That was
Oh God,
scary.
if you're again, you're at 78%. I don't think I could do that.
No, that's when you have to be on oxygen all the time.
Yeah, and I've been in that. I've been in that situation too, where I was on 50 liters of oxygen That's what they were pumping into me. I don't know what the interval is, but it was some kind of hydro. Basically, they hooked me up to a thing, and I was literally bedbound for a week.
Yeah.
And I had a chest tube because apparently they. So there I was in the hospital trying to get better, and I damn near contracted pneumonia.
Mm-hmm. That will happen from being in bed. Yep.
Yeah, they pulled about 4 liters of something out of my lungs during that time.
Don't, no, Brigid, no, don't. Just, we'll leave it as something. We're, yeah. I know some of what. No, we'll just leave it there.
You don't want to know.
If you don't,
uncomfortable.
If you don't
I
know,
did not have.
Yeah, folks, if you don't already know, leave it like that unless and until you have to.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, just it was not fun. Thankfully, I have not had to go back for anything quite like that.
Oh, look at you. By the way, Trippin, hi, see you over there. I did say hi on typing, but I wanted to at least kind of do it the right way. And it says, when you can't read the numbers, it's usually not good. Now, the funny part of it is the way that he's saying it is, if you can't read the numbers, for instance, if you can't focus well enough, I totally get that.
Oh,
but
no.
But mm-hmm. If it's a matter of that, the nurse doesn't want to show you the numbers. Now, we can pretty well agree overall
that's concerning.
Yeah, that they should not withhold information from the patient. However, if the nurse is saying, is basically doing the passive aggressive, you don't want to look at this. The worst part about that is if they're trying to get you to stay calm and nice and quiet and composed and they ain't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't going to work. Unless you get somebody like really drugged up, sedated, it's not going to work. Anybody that knows anything about how people interact with each other, it ain't going to work.
I think as far as I'm concerned, if they don't want to show you the numbers or if they're reluctant to reveal any kind of information to you, even though it's your right, it means they've messed up before and have been sued over it, or they've messed up this time and are trying to prolong being sued for it.
That's possible.
Or, maybe they're just being malicious. But, as the saying goes, never attribute to malice that which can be explained by incompetence. It could very well be that, no, they're not actually being a jerk. They just messed up.
CYA.
Yeah. And especially these days in the land of insurance, legalese, lawsuits, and everything else, as well as a professional reputation, especially in the medical community, CYA is a mantra.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the day for the HIPAA provision that you can't even see your own stuff because you might end up suing yourself over something. Mm-hmm. You think about it these days, though, in this age of twisted language and today this means X, tomorrow it'll mean Y. Somebody is going to eventually end up tying their own tongue in a knot just trying to sort through some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to try to figure some of this stuff out, but you know what? Fortunately, we don't have that problem just yet.
Yeah.
Just yet.
Yeah.
Kind of a sideways to that, by the way. I don't know if the rest of you guys had seen. I know this isn't exactly right on topic with stuff, but just only because I saw this earlier today when I had hours to kill and I wrote a script for another video series that I do. That's a whole other thing. Because I had time. I had a lot of time to kill and I had a lot of coffee, which worked out good. I don't know if you guys had seen that there was a technique that was done in order to watch in real time RNA self-replicating.
Huh.
Which blew my freaking mind, and of course I didn't save the damned article for myself, because, I'm an idiot that way. But yeah, that was like really freaking cool. It was that one, and then another one that says that there may be a fifth fundamental force of nature that they may have just discovered. So, all kinds of stuff on my science feed. Yeah, I should be watching this stuff. Whatever. Now, see, here's a problem. Phyllis, when you go ahead and you say, shoo, we've got a long delay here. Just give me the whole damn thing. Don't do that. And tripping is, or figuring out what next should be. Rather have a nurse take a few seconds to bounce things around their noggin instead of guessing. Wholeheartedly agree. I would much rather have a healthcare professional, a nurse, say, you know what? I've got your charts. Just excuse me. Oh God, this is gonna suck. I'm sorry. The cough that I've got right now is the cold weather cough. With the humidity in the house dropping because the heater's been kicking on because it's been cold, and it's been sucking out of my throat. So talking does that. Sorry. This is something pops up every once in a while. Yeah, I would much rather, wait for stuff. It might get a little bit concerning if you're in a hospital and the head nurse comes over to talk with you. But then again, for what it's worth, folks, I will trust a head nurse every goddamn time. I will trust a head nurse every time. Unless it's in a Catholic church, Catholic hospital. And even then, I would probably trust them. But
At which point I'd be wondering, how did you end up in a Catholic hospital in the first place?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Because there's nowhere else to go?
Nope. There's an easy answer for that one. Brigid, how many otherwise independent, unaffiliated hospitals get gobbled up by the Catholic Health Services every year?
Most of them.
Bingo.
Okay, fair enough.
So you get good nurses in bad situations that way.
Yep.
And
I mean, in some counties, or in lots of counties, that's the only option you have. If you have a hospital at all, is Catholic hospital.
Jeez.
And I still want to find out if there is a web app out there somewhere where you can see where the coverages are for various hospitals to find out which ones are unaffiliated, independent, or what groups they're owned by, to find out where there is only Catholic Health Services in areas.
That would be handy to have. I know that in my county, that's all you have are Catholic hospitals here.
Yeah, that's... Anyway. Ooh. Okay, so... Okay, so Phyllis and I had talked about this particular thing this week. And she's asking, what are the repercussions when a pharmacy gives out the wrong prescription? I think I got someone fired.
Yep.
Now, only a little bit of history to kind of go along with this one. Well, considering how this played out, pharmacy, obviously, as was stated, gave out the wrong medication. Phyllis, you're gonna need to kind of help me out on this one a little bit, because I've forgotten if it was they handed over the wrong medication but with the right labeling for the person it was supposed to get to, or if they completely did the right medication in the right bottle to the wrong patient.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, I've
And had the pharmacist immediately trying to call me on the phone as soon as I left the store.
yeah, stuff like that happens because in as somebody who worked as a stock boy I will admit, my first job at a pharmacy, locally owned, independent pharmacy, in the mid '80s. That's bad. That okay.
That can kill people.
Yes, and generally speaking, that doesn't happen. Generally speaking, because this is one of those few times where I'm going to use the expression. That is one of those sacred trusts between you and the pharmacist. Even if it's a chain owned, it's still the person behind the counter with the drugs. And there are very few groups that actually compound their own stuff anymore. I mean, that almost never happens anymore. But there are some situations where people can get the wrong medication because it was misread, or the wrong medication was given to, somebody else's medication was given to another patient by accident, and they didn't catch the thing. It could be something as simple as getting the wrong dosage. There are some, a perfect example, Valium. Valium, I remember, 510 balls, 15 milligram, I think is what it was.
I think it's 510 or 20.
510, 20, okay. The only difference between the tablets, and they're all round with a V in the middle. That's their design. That's the name brand, I should say. That's their design. Is the color. That's the only way of knowing.
Well,
so if you're supposed to get a 5 and you suddenly get a different color, but it's the same shape, you might not even have thought about it if it was one of those once in a while kind of things. Because let's be frank, we really don't want people to be on Valium very long.
I've got one about that, but even think about something like like an opiate, like OxyContin or oxycodone, which I was on for a month for pain. And I had 15 milligram dose. It doesn't sound like much, but trust me, you pop one of those 20 minutes later, you are in orbit. So again, if you're only supposed to have 5, like my mother used to when she was dealing with pain, a total PSA here, folks. Osteoporosis is bad. Drink your frickin' milk, okay? Anyways, but if she'd accidentally been gotten the wrong pills and gotten like a 15 or a 25 instead of just the 5.
Oh yeah.
Given that she was 88 years old, 89 years old, it wouldn't have been pretty.
No.
You know, and I mean, this is why you go to a place like a university to become a pharmacologist. This is not something Joe Average can, just walk into a Target pharmacy and say, yo, I want to give out pills. No, it doesn't work like that. And the thing is that reputation should follow you. So like if you royally screw up at a Target and they find out that, and it's like investigated and it's found out that it is your fault, you deservedly have a long way to go to get your reputation rebuilt. And if that means having to start at the bottom of the ladder, well, yeah. Now, again, I've never had to deal with this. I go get my pills and I always get the right pills. I again, like I said, I've been very thankful and very fortunate in that respect. But yeah, I mean, if somebody at the store, if the place I go to now to get my pills, if the guy there messed up, ended up getting fired, I go to another drugstore and I happen to see him there, Yeah, I don't want to deal with him.
Now,
Well, and the thing you have to watch out for too is, and I think it's getting better now since prescriptions are now electronically sent over or printed out, so they're
Oh,
not
the
just
handwriting.
scrawled.
Yes.
Because there's so many drugs that the names are very similar,
Hmm.
but there's a big difference between, Keflex and Keppra,
Well, and the other thing too,
or Zyprexa and Zyrtec.
yeah, or if you have a like one of my blood pressure medications, I know it as its brand name, but I don't really know it as its chemical name. So, if the pharmacist writes out, or if the doctor writes out the chemical name, if I would have seen it, like, okay, what the hell is this? Thankfully, yeah, my doctor also laser prints all prescriptions nowadays.
Hmm.
yep. Stephanie was saying in the UK, scripts are printed off, no longer handwritten. Good. That's excellent. That's good to know. And Felix had also clarified it was somebody else's prescription. The name was misspelled and was given to. Well, you know what? At this point, I don't think she's got any real problem with my actually giving it out. That the script was given to her. This is something that is not a pharmacist's fault. This is something that would typically be whoever it was that was handing the stuff back and forth. Yes, you can
Hmm.
get on the pharmacist for if they were the one actually entering in the patient information for the labels and such. And okay, you know what? That's a typo. That happens once in a while. Let's face it. And if the cashier is the one that goes to get it and goes off of the bad information because of the typo, could somebody get fired over something like that? Yeah,
Yes.
but I could actually see that as, unless they had done something before, I could see this being something a serious reprimand would have to go through. And considering that you're talking about a typo and then a handover, if it was multiple people, yeah, I could see this kind of spreading out the pain and a real heavy duty reprimand all the way around the board. Somebody getting fired, possible, yeah, but considering what the situation would be, I would not want somebody to lose a job over, but really be hurt for making a mistake like that because it's one of those comedy of errors kind of moments.
Well, the other question too is, and again, I don't know, about the College of Pharmacists or whatever it is. Isn't there some kind of like a
Sorry.
regulatory board or something like that where if they did make a mistake like that, could they not be pulled in for a review? Not necessarily criminal, but just like from their
Medical board?
peers.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they could lose their license,
Yeah.
and pharmacists, at least down here, are doctors. They have their PharmD.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the guys that I worked with, you know what? Hold on a second. Um,
I mean, to
tech.
be a tech here, you have to have a license,
Yeah.
and they can yank that license.
Tech. Let me run this one past you really quickly. Can you remember? Can you remember someone that you had interactions with in the workplace that you were in 3 years ago? Remember their name, what they looked like? Would you be able to recognize them by face, by name, and actually remember, oh yeah, I worked on such and so computer, it was this model, and the problem was blah.
Okay. 3 years ago, yes, because 3 years ago I was still working with servers and I had already been working with a team of people for over 6 years. If it was somebody who I met randomly off the street 3 years ago, no.
Okay, how about more? All right, more specifically, somebody that you saw infrequently, once a month, something along those lines, but then hadn't seen them for about 3 years. Would you, generally speaking,
Again,
remember those levels
yeah.
of detail?
Well, my brain's weird. I remember things that other people don't remember. But at the same time, I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
My friend, that's called old age. That's fine. I'm going with
But when
that.
it comes to computers, yeah, I can remember that kind of stuff. I'm more likely to remember something about somebody's computer than I am about the person.
Okay. We had somebody come into the pharmacy. Hadn't been there in 3 years. The pharmacist on duty, one of the owners, there were two of them, one of the owners, Howie, as a matter of fact, the nicest bosses. Every job I have ever had, I've compared against those bosses. Seriously. He remembered the person by face, remembered their first name, remembered roughly where their old script was in the files that we had,
Oh my goodness.
was able to find the script number, because all the scripts that come in all got their own serial number as they were punched in and put into a big actual paper file, one after the other. Found it on the first try, but had done it only to confirm that they remembered the doctor, the drug, the dosage, and the strength. And he already had it known.
See, that does not surprise me because professionals in an industry where you focus constantly on specific fields of information tend to have, the brain tends to stay focused in there. So if my focus is on staying on, okay, these people, these servers, this kind of level of access, these licenses, and then I'm doing it over and over and over and over again, and then somebody shows up and goes, "Yeah, I remember you. You had that. We had to build that SQL box for you and your team. We ended up we were going to license out 15, and then you guys came back and kind of jumped down our throat because you actually had said 50, but some idiot on the phone only claimed 15." And that's right. And you were the second in charge, and how's so and so the one who was first in charge? And see that stuff that you're talking about, that doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't.
Because it's stuff that we've done.
Yeah, and because you're doing it over and over and over and over again. It's like when I worked food service. I didn't think I'd be able to remember people's meals because so many people come and go. And then somebody shows up that I served, 3 weeks ago. Hey, what was that thing that you had last time I was here? Oh, yeah, the blah, blah, blah. Where the hell did my brain come up with that? I met this person exactly one time. I remember what they ate. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can remember what they had.
Yep. The reason I bring this up is that professionals who can keep that, who have that level of memory, of that level of minutia that they keep in them over time, especially when you're front facing with customers. I know. I used a corporatism. I'm sorry. Shut up. It's valid though.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got that, that's a special kind of repartee that you've got with people, especially when you're an independent. So pharmacists, they will know if a doctor calls in a script for you, they will probably know what you've been taking, how much you've been taking, and what this drug is going to do that's good or bad, because there have been times where doctors have written up scripts and no, hold on a second, because okay, let me explain to you what this is going to do to you in combination with the other 2 drugs that you're taking now.
Yep.
Blah, 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 blah,
And
blah, blah, blah.
especially these days. I mean, of course, just having come back from the States after, a couple of weeks, once again, are you tired? Are you sleeping right? Maybe Drowsy Sominex Plus is right for you.
Maybe coffee is what you need.
Do not take Drowsy Sominex if you are this, is that, or other thing. Side effects may include, do not take in combination with food or water or air,
My favorite is the medications that are for something what I would consider mundane in comparison. And by mundane, now granted, some people would disagree with me, especially somebody suffering from something that makes their life miserable. Mundane is something that's not going to kill you. Mundane is something that may be irritating, it may cause you to make lifestyle changes, but it won't ultimately kill you, okay, under regular living conditions. So you have something that's non-life threatening, and the medication for it says, hey, this is for you. By the way, side effects include death. Excuse me? No, thank you.
Yeah. When one of the side effects is not just pneumonia and death. When it's just death, could I have the cake instead, please? There's a reference for some people.
Irritable bowel syndrome. Here, take this pill. By the way, this may kill you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was this made by Jack Kevorkian?
No, because he's dead already. Are you not keeping track of this? Okay.
One thing I can tell you that the pharmacist is going to have a much better idea of drug interactions than your doctor will.
Oh, hell yeah.
Your doctor probably doesn't have a clue.
And they're really not.
That's why we have pharmacists.
Yep.
See, I think we need here in America need to do what they do in other countries. Refer to the pharmacist as the chemist.
Yeah.
Because you need to understand chemistry.
Well, yeah, but
they were compounding more things than I would probably call him a chemist.
Exactly. That's where I was going to go. It doesn't happen very often anymore. And one of the big compounding houses apparently got into a big fracas because they were less than sterile, apparently.
Yep.
So, good job, guys. It's a whole other thing. Give you an idea as to how important some of these guys are? Again, Brigid will especially appreciate this one. Calling the doctor and requesting a new script sent over so that the name brand could be changed to dispense as generic.
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute. What was okay.
Can't substitute.
Yeah, in New York at the time, you had a box for DAW. Stands for dispense as written. So if the doctor wrote, and Dalan, this is where this comes in, name brand Smilex, and puts DAW, they got to dispense name brand Smilex.
Yep.
If they wrote smilotitetrahydrazine corn DAW, well, they're writing out the actual chemical. They could dispense what's essentially generic. But hold on. But the pharmacist that I had got in touch with the doctor to say, look, can we give them generic because it's going to save them about $900 in payments because of the insurance company.
Yep.
And there's no difference between them. And the doc said,
Now,
okay, no problem. I'll send you over a new script.
Now, funny thing you should say that. My insurance plan actually says if a generic version of this medication is available, that is what you will dispense.
Yep.
Only dispense the name brand if absolutely necessary, or if the doctor explicitly states that this is the one you have to have.
Yep.
And I've had a couple of times where there was one medication I was on and it was brand new. I was actually part of the test group for it. And hey, still alive, so it wasn't that bad. At least.
No, you're
you're
still alive. Don't worry, this isn't hell.
Oh, no,
it's
no.
Close.
But just
close.
cut to a couple of years ago, or a year ago, where they said, oh, yeah, you remember that stuff that you were part of the test group for, and that, you got that free blood pressure monitor, which, served you great right up until the pump decided to die from overuse? They said, yeah, there's a chance that the generic version of that you've been taking might be carcinogenic, so we've pulled it off all the shelves. And given some of the other things that have gone on lately,
yeah,
it just makes you wonder.
Yeah. By the way, Trippin was. I'm sorry, real quickly. Besides, Trippin was also saying, don't forget what some foods can affect meds as well. True.
Oh yeah.
The various cyclines, if I remember right, do not interact well with dairy products, especially milk. If I remember that one correctly. Which would be the penicillin, amoxicillin, tetracycline as well, I think, if I remember correctly, don't like to work well with milk and just stop working.
Yep. As a matter of fact,
which when you're dealing with antibiotics, you don't want to have that happening.
Oh,
I can't
take MAOI inhibitors and you have grapefruit, that can kill you.
Bingo. I can't have grapefruit because I'm on blood pressure medication because it may make it work too well.
Why would you want to have grapefruit? That's disgusting anyway.
I know, but it's just one of those things.
Hey, Tech, you know what grapefruits are good for?
I don't want to know.
Well, if you cut a hole in them, stick them in a microwave.
No. Besides that, wait, no. Okay, try to picture this. About 14 feet worth of PVC tubing, a can of Aquanet, a clicky lighter, and a grapefruit down the front end of it. You've got a much worse spud chucker than anybody could ever hope for. Because they'll splatter.
Oh boy, you've never heard of the tennis ball cannon then.
Dude, this is better. Dogs love tennis balls. Dogs do not like grapefruits.
Yeah, the active ingredient in the tennis ball cannon, however, though, is gasoline. Gasoline,
Aquanet, tomato. I don't care.
I guess, yeah.
Don't worry about it. WD-40. Who cares?
Aquanet was pretty flammable.
Was?
Well, do they still make it? I'm sorry.
Haven't
seen it in years.
Dalan, you were last down there in Texas. Did you see the hair?
You can still buy Aquanet, yes.
Yeah, Aquanet Extra Super Hold Professional Hairspray available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. You want to know how much people have? Okay, when my wife was still going to high school, back in the late 80s, she would get together with her friends after they got off the bus when they were getting into school to try to figure out, okay, how much Aquanet have we used? Let's do the crunch test. Crunch on their hair. And
oh my God.
There you go. And this is why we don't have an ozone hole anymore, because we fixed that shit.
Well, at least it wasn't at least they were trying, the Michael Jackson test.
Okay.
Let's light a match and see what goes boom.
Okay. I really didn't want to go there. I'll be right back. Hold on a second. You know what?
I had to.
Man, when you can break the host like that, I think you've done something right.
I win.
Okay. Yeah, no. Like I said, I've been very fortunate with pharmacies and doctors and stuff.
Welcome back, Shujin.
Hi. Back. Okay. See this?
Yes.
You know what this is?
Yeah.
It's a Pepsi Cola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the good stuff. Ah.
Do we recognize this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out if I should like.
Looks like a slushy.
It's the old 1984 empty. It's empty.
Empty, yeah.
It's empty. Can.
Huh.
So yeah, I was trying to figure out if I should give this to somebody because this is the old Jackson's World Tour from '84.
No, not
Honestly,
give.
no.
Not
No.
give.
No,
Not give.
keep it.
That's or eBay.
Or eBay, yeah.
You know what? Maybe I'll end up getting more than the 5 cents that the return would be. You know what? I bet you the machines wouldn't even accept this anymore. Probably wouldn't. Whatever.
eBay.
Just do whatever the heck you want with it. It's your property.
Nope. That's aluminum, all right. The magnet didn't stick to it. Shut up. Leave me alone. 3-man slingshot or spud gun. See? Tripping's on my side on this one. No carb cleaner gives bigger boom. Carb cleaner, yeah, but carb cleaner on PVC pipe? Yeah, you'll get a boom, all right. Then it'll start dripping down your foot, and then, it's all kinds of bad. The beehive is not dead. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, for no lack of trying.
Yeah. So we're, I just suddenly realized we're like an hour into the show with less than an hour to go. And wow, we really strayed way the hell off of what I really wanted to talk about in the first place, didn't we? It's one of those nights.
Well,
It's weird too because I actually had something to say about it too.
No,
well, some of it does apply. That's not what I said, and we derailed with the grapefruit and the microwave thing. So, yeah.
okay, we're
Not
not
what you said.
we're not going to talk. For those of you that are wondering, no, I am not registered at Bad Dragon. But if you'd like to register me at Bad Dragon, that's perfectly fine. There is no checkout special code, so whatever. Shut up, leave me alone. I'm lonely, leave me alone. Anyway, so the real nitty gritty about the whole damn thing is that, like we said, we all know certain things. We all know weird, quirky trivia. I know a few lines of Japanese, and I know a few lines of Italian, and my 2 years of Spanish in school really didn't help me for learning any real Italian. I still know the same Italian that my grandma taught me. And one or two other lines that you're really not... There's one line in Italian you really don't say. You really, really should not say. I don't care who you're with. And it's been a long time since I've seen Goodfellas. I don't know if it was even said then. Oh, well, you know what? I just suddenly realized probably not a good idea for me to go ahead and look that one up on IMDb, because if it turned up, yeah, that's going to look great on a search history later. That's great.
I actually thought that when we were going to do this show topic, I thought we were going to be using like references to when people come into our YouTube channel and they'll say, well, it's a conspiracy, the Democrats are in control, or the Jews are in control, or the Republicans, whatever this, that, and the other thing is like, just look it up on the internet. how many people have we kick banned from YouTube chat because they wouldn't stop saying, well, you go Google that. You go Google that.
There's my whole thing. So, like I said, people want to go ahead and take a look over at the holy crap Twitter thing. Yeah, I dealt with this guy, and I'm still waiting on it.
Hey, I'm still waiting to get a link to a Google document with a link to all the reference material and the guy's laid out plan and everything else that we did, who we ended up having to kick out so many months ago because he started getting belligerent. But he was making all these wild ass claims and assertions, and we were just telling him, look, just organize your data in a Google document, cite your sources, send us the link. We'll go do the research based on your links, your reference material, and compare notes. And who knows, it may even turn into a show. Well, hey, guess what? It kind of turned into a show just now by me mentioning it. But not the kind of show I wanted to do. I want to do a show where somebody comes in making these claims and they have their ducks lined up in a row and they go, I make claim number one. Here are the references that back my claim. Here is the material that backs my claim. Here is the science, the math, and so on and so forth. Here is the legitimate news sources, not the Onion, but maybe the BBC, CNN, and so on and so forth. Here's where they got their information from. I was like, okay, great, let's look into this. And then if we can get everything squared away and reviewed before the show, we'll turn this into a show. Fantastic. Not one mofo that we have asked this of has done this yet.
Yep.
Not one.
Yep. And even the guy that by the way, the guy that I was dealing with on this one was at Twister, TWIISTER plays. Yeah, and his name. I mean, the Twitter account is at Twister plays, but the name on it is Titus35. For anybody that's wondering what it says in Titus 3:5, I don't know because I didn't bother because guy's a screwball.
And see, that's the interesting thing about being interconnected in today's world. You might have a oh, excuse me. It's catching. It's a conspiracy cough. Anyway, you might have a village or a local neighborhood.
Or Village Idiot, and I was dealing with him today.
Right.
Sorry.
And in your local neighborhood, you might have 150 families. And out of those 150 families, one is a conspiracy theorist, right? But they kind of keep most of this stuff to themselves because everybody else doesn't believe that crap. And in the days that Shujin and myself and the rest of us all grew up in, they usually kept that crap to themselves because no support for their insanity. Now you have so much interconnectedness that they can get online in a moment, find whatever conspiracy that they believe to be true, to find others who believe are like-minded, and now they have support for their conspiracy, their choice, conspiracy du jour, and it gives them self-affirmation. And it's like, oh look, I believe this, and 30 other people throughout the world believe it too. It must be real. And then they start going off the bandwagon, trying to convince everybody else. The internet empowers groups to find their echo chambers and then reinforce their echo chambers. And where it becomes harmful is not the person who goes, I think the Jews are running the world, and that's where it kind of stops. those are the harmless people. The ones that aren't harmless are the ones that go, I think the Jews run the world and we need to kill all the Jews. Those are the people who are very, very much in need of some severe assistance, mentally, physically, maybe both. Or how about this one? Vaccines cause autism. There was a YouTube, Dalan, if you could do the research since I'm on mobile, there was a comedy script called What If Google Was a Guy? And in it, basically, there's a guy behind a desk acting as Google, and people walk into his office, sit in the chair, and ask him a question or questions. It's hilariously funny. But at one point, one lady walks in and goes, vaccines cause autism. And he goes, well, I've got 1 million results that say they don't, and one that says they do. And the woman goes, I knew it. And she takes the one and walks away. And he's like, just because I have it doesn't mean it's true.
And for what it's worth, Dalan's Google foo is good. Because before Tech even finished with all that, it's just like, yep, there it is. Yep.
There's 5 of them, and you should watch all 5.
And there was another one that Markiplier had done. No, I'm not challenging you to go find it. I'm just stating it for a fact because I'm pretty sure I remember that one. But that one goes back a little ways. But that's a whole other thing. Trippin', by the way, is laughing really good. You know, conspiracy theorists with actual evidence. Right. Yeah, I'm completely with you on this one. By the way,
see, here's the thing, though. That might actually happen. Look at how many. I think there was a recent news article that was claiming that they had evidence that coal companies or fuel companies, it was one of the two. I'll have to see if I can find it again. But it came across my news feed that they knew as far back as 1966 that fossil fuels would cause incredible harm to climate change, and that it would do it in a relatively short period of time. And I'm going, okay, maybe not. Who knows? But it could be possible that it ends up more of this kind of news coming to light, because some conspiracies aren't wild ass, way out there kind of stuff. It might be something subtle like, there really was a secret ingredient in KFC that made you crave the KFC more than it does now, because they've changed the recipe since then. That was called monosodium glutamate. It's not really that bad for you, but it does increase the umami flavor of the stuff you put it in. And we already have the science behind MSG. It's natural occurring where it occurs naturally, and how the body manages to deal with it, because the body knows exactly what to do with it. But
Coca-Cola cocaine. Sorry.
It's not in there anymore.
No, it's not.
And it wasn't like they were making cocaine and then putting it in the soda. They just had the plant.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be wild to be conspiracy. It doesn't have to be far out in the left or right field. It just has to be something that's outside of the norm, something outside the accepted, and it's a conspiracy. But if you're going to claim it, you have to back it up. You can't just say, I know this to be true, but nobody else agrees with me. It's like, are you saying nobody agrees with you because they don't like the facts? Or are you saying they don't agree with you because you don't have any facts to back it up? You don't have any sources to cite, no empirical evidence to be tested. Okay? If you're going to tell me that there's an invisible man in the sky who loves me with all his heart, and all he wants for me to do is acknowledge his existence and love him back unconditionally, and that's kind of the end of the claim, right? Forget the rest of the stuff involved in the religion. I was like, well, if he's invisible, how am I supposed to see him? Well, he's there. He was like, oh, well, can you talk to me? No, unless you open your heart. I'm sorry. What do you mean open my heart? You're going to have to explain that one in a scientific term for me, because last I checked, having a hole in your heart, Brigid, was probably a recipe for a bad day.
Oh yeah, and very messy, very messy.
Very messy. Just watch Dune. Um,
Usually surgically repaired, if it's, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and even then, there's no guarantee that it'll keep.
Yeah.
No, there's not, but
Yeah.
babies that are born
I
with
lost,
holes in their hearts, generally need surgery, unless I die first, and then they don't need it.
I had a relative on my maternal side of the family who was born with a hole in his heart. I'm actually named after the guy. Supposedly, I never got to meet the guy, but according to my family, he was a very caring, very loving man. But due to stressors in his life and the things that happened to him, and the fact that he had a hole in his heart, weakening it, he didn't live past 35. So I'm guessing that's probably the norm for something like that. But again, you're making a claim. You're making a wild ass claim. Somebody else might come up to me and goes, look, you know how you keep getting those dry patches on your lawn? Well, what you don't realize is that the fertilizer guys that come around, since you're not paying them, they're spreading some stuff on your lawn that's killing those patches of grass. They want to do it. They're doing it because they want you to buy their stuff and make your lawn look bad in the process. Okay, that's a conspiracy by the fertilizer company or whatever, or the local landscaping company. That might be something. I mean, it's not too far out there. They might be. It could also be that when they drive past and spray their stuff, I'm getting the ass end of things just because maybe it's the neighbor across the street and it's unintentional. That might be something worth looking into, and it's something that I can definitely measure and record and test. But it's not a wild ass claim. It's just a little out there. So it only needs some evidence, some proof. But a wild ass claim, a wild ass conspiracy, you need a lot to back those up. That's why we ask you, if you make a claim to us, be prepared to show us the evidence. Don't say, well, just go look on Google. You'll find it.
Yeah.
No. You made the claim. You produced the evidence.
Yeah. One of the parts of this exchange I ended up having, because this guy was basically saying, look, God created the universe, yabbity yabbity, back and forth, the whole thing. One of the favorite things that I wrote. Okay, they went ahead and said, as part of their claim, in the beginning, God, capital G, God, by the way, created the heaven and the earth. Genesis 1:1. My answer to that was, and I'll show you where my favorite part of it is. It's a nice claim, shared by several other religions. Here's my favorite part of what I wrote, and I know I'm vain on this one. Leave me alone. How do you show the causal link between that claim and the start of the universe in a way that can be investigated and independently confirmed? To go with the topic, I didn't say they were wrong. I'm just waiting for you to show me that you're right. Now, with that one, Ivan, would it be Ivan or even? Ivan is chiming in saying, hello from Russia. Good morning to you. I hope that your day is going well for you.
Good morning.
And Trippin had also said, what's really sad is when our damn president spews conspiracy theories. I give you a counter proposal. I give you a counter proposal, Kirk. I would say the president spewing out conspiracy ideas, that's bad. A legislature, a co-equal branch that accepts it and regurgitates it on its own
It's worse.
is worse.
Yep.
Now, I'm specifically using the term regurgitate because that means that they're not internalizing it. They're just having it crammed down their caw and just vomiting it up back out to everybody else, mostly undigested, with no understanding whatsoever of what was actually being done, and with zero regard to who or how it's being spewed out onto everybody else. As far as I'm concerned, all these people should be spewing out their noses.
Yep.
I'm sorry, was that evil mean of me to say that I would really wish that their sinuses became, I don't know, filled with bile and run through as if it was on a crack binge? I know.
That's too good for them.
Yeah, I know. What was it that they used to...
Don't mince words, guys. Tell us what you really think.
Okay, what was it what they used to cut it with to really screw people up? What was it, fiberglass? They ground up into the stuff, and the guys would snort it, and they would just completely shred their sinuses.
Oh, you mean Cool Cigarette brand cigarettes, where they used to put the fiberglass in the filters, and they give you that cooling feeling as you sucked on the cigarette.
Could have been.
Yeah, pack of Cools. Menthol.
Yeah, I only ever stuck with Camel unfiltered. I guess it was easier.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I was a Marlboro.
I never smoked. That was my uncle. Anyway.
Oh, I smoked. I was 15 years smoking.
And look, it stunted your growth and you grew out sideways instead of up. That's brilliant. Nice.
There is no evidence that cigarettes make you fat.
Except for you.
No. Whoa.
I'm an example of making poor choices in the amount of food that I consume.
See, I would go with that, but I'm clearly and continuously sticking with, for me, that it's pregnancy weight, and I'm sticking with that story, and I don't care. Shut up.
I am not.
Well,
pregnant.
okay, Shujin, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you haven't shown me any evidence to show that you're right.
I have a kid. I have a kid.
So, Tech having pregnancy weight is provable evidence by the fact that you have a kid.
Tech has a kid too.
We're both fat.
Yeah, but I'm not pregnant. I never have.
We completely amtracked that one.
I know what he meant, but I really wanted to go there and just play with him anyway.
I think it's not your fault, Tech. I think it's too much HFC. Or what is it? The high fructose corn
LDS?
syrup in everything.
Hey, Tech.
Oh.
Hey, Tech. Tech.
I think it's a Western diet because we didn't have a lot of heavy people 30 years ago. Or 40 years ago, rather.
Do I know how I feel about you now, Tech?
That was kind of harsh.
That was kind of...
He was,
Do you know what the difference is between that and going...
Dude, you do realize that you're the one who came after me first.
Fuck off, I don't care.
Wow, this is almost like a reenactment of a Facebook discussion.
Or a Twitter account.
But in the roles are reversed, where somebody makes a claim, our esteemed host counterclaims, and the other guy goes nuclear.
Okay, I'm trying to be nice. I'm also trying to be entertaining for the people.
Are you planning on running for president?
I
I was just going to say, because you're kind of behaving like one.
Funny you should ask that. Maybe.
Maybe we should.
Well, there
We
was
couldn't
talk
screw
about
it
it
up any
before.
worse.
Well, no, it was going to be Shujin for president, and Joey was going to be the running mate.
Couldn't do worse than what we got now.
Yeah. We were going to resurrect Gracie Allen's old political party, the Surprise Party. Yeah. And
We
Well,
have so lowered the bar for presidency that I would vote for any of the Bushes right.
God, could you imagine that on that election day, like CNN and Fox News going, well, they came in running as the surprise party, and surprise, they're president.
Yeah.
Okay. Every journalist, and I say that way, not journalist, journalist,
okay.
they would eat that up.
Mm.
That kind of stuff would be like journalistic foie gras to them, or at least that would be the end result of it.
Okay. Stephanie's saying, we're in the middle of an election. I'm going to hustings and listen to one candidate lie about his party because the truth will lose the election. Welcome to politics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of universal, at least with the three countries involved here.
Yep. One party is going so far as to set up a website that claimed to be another party simply to lie about them. Unfortunately, that's... Yeah, we've heard stuff like that happen.
Stephanie?
It's a change in technology. That's all it.
Don't give America any ideas.
Oh no, we've had stuff like this happening already. Don't even worry about it. But
since the beginning of our country, our nation, I should say, as it is, politicians have been duking it out, quite literally duking it out, and in other cases, run propaganda campaigns, take out articles in newspapers or newsines or whatever they wanted to call them, things that people read on the train, flyers going around, everything. This is nothing new. The only thing that we're seeing different here is the delivery system is relatively new, and that is the internet and all its forms. I mean, this is still done on radio. This was still done on television. It's just now it's wider spread thanks to the interconnectedness of the world around us and the speed at which we have access to it.
Yeah, I talked about that once before, that this all started in 1980 with the 24-hour news cycle and CNN.
Mm-hmm.
Once that happened, there was no time delay for fact checking. There was no actual investigative journalistic time frames. It was news cycles going on. Next 15-minute clip. When have we got it? You're on in 3 minutes. And
Yeah, that ruined it.
That's...
Yeah, I mean, look at how many journalists who are live in the field get surprised by the things they learned while they're there. Whereas in the past, it used to be, yeah, I've been here for several days, and I've had this, and I've done that, and this is what we're hearing, this is what we're seeing, and look, here's the footage. We documented it, and we've got this, and we're going to bring you more, and so on and so forth. And now it's, we just arrived at the scene. Let's see what's happening. You, sir, are you thankful for God? Wait, what? What the hell just happened here?
What happened here is Mr. Wolf got told, well, I'm actually an atheist.
Yeah, that was funny.
I love that. I'm going to make sure that one's linked. Wolf, yeah. I'm an atheist, so I can make sure that is in the show. Because
we used to wait to hear from, like, what's going on with Hong Kong right now.
Mm.
And I'm not going to say one way or the other which way I think it should go, because I don't need a whole bunch of the Chinese propaganda machine coming in here and like trying to get us knocked off the air kind of crap. Because guess what's happening in Japan right now? You know those wooden plaques that you hang up at like a what do they call it? Like a Shinto shrine or whatever it is? You put a wish on there and you hang it up?
Yeah.
Well, people were writing things about pro-Hong Kong. And so the Chinese tourists were coming in and they were snapping them in half or writing over them. So now the Japanese have to put up signs saying, please don't mess with other people's wishes.
No, you can say desecrate. That would be right. If I remember right, that would be Shinto shrines, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I don't see desecrate as being the wrong word for it.
Now, to be fair,
it
was reported that a lot of those wishes tend to be hey, I want to do, the popularity of putting those kinds of wooden plaques up usually had the high majority of them had things like, I wish for to do good on this entrance exam. I wish to do better at this. Little things like that, not like a whole nation level of change, just little changes.
Yeah, that would be very common.
You're right. So I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but at the end of the day, I'm still Wheaton's law. Don't be a dick.
True that.
Yeah. Um, so anyway, as I was saying, in Hong Kong, they've got a lot of the things that are going on, a lot of the fighting, a lot of the combat, a lot of the politics and everything else that's going on. If we were covering it here and it was, let's say it was the main news for here in the U.S., we'd want to make sure that in the old days, in my childhood, that they had their ducks lined up in a row. Now it's just, oh, look, there goes this. They must have started that. They must be doing this. They must be doing that. That subverse news site, I'm actually enjoying a lot more than regular news.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was funny
Especially
too.
with the amount of footage that they were showing.
Yeah.
They weren't just cutting things together. They're like, here's the start of what happened. Here's where this occurred. Yeah. As you can see, this led into here. As you can see, these are the people here being affected by this because here's the video. And they're not just jumping around clip to clip to clip to clip every 5 seconds like they do on the news nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've even said, at least I think for the most part, that the whole impeachment thing, they're actually leaving it alone.
I don't blame them. There's more important things than just.
Well, exactly, because there's too much else going on in the world right now. And all the other networks seem to have that particular thing covered in their own ways, biased or otherwise.
Right. And until all the testimony comes out, until all the evidence is reviewed, there's really nothing to do but wait. I mean, if you want to watch it live moment to moment, then that's your prerogative. If you want to wait until the end, that's your prerogative. It's just like a movie. You can wait till the movie comes out on DVD or go to the theater.
Okay, hold that thought right there a second. What you were just saying about how some groups have basically said we're not going to touch that because everybody else is doing it. That's a good portion of what I've tried to do over here because I don't want to be dealing with it because truth be told I don't want to be trying to digest it. But I did end up having to deal with somebody who was trying to make a specific point that I believed was wrong. But I didn't know because I have not been listening to the testimonies. I have not been listening to the recaps by the various nighttime groups, which, don't get me wrong, every once in a while it's actually a lot of fun to check in on John Oliver because fuck you, Bob. I'm sorry, no, that's eat shit, Bob. There we go. But I actually had to tell this person, I want to say lady, but I don't want to insult dogs. I actually had to say, look, I don't know that you're wrong, but I don't see the causal links that you say make your statements true. You're making assumptions about what I should know, and I am coming from the standpoint of I need you to show me how each of these dominoes hits the next domino to connect these pieces. I need you to do that for me. I almost went to the what was the name of the Philadelphia story. No, it was just Philadelphia. Where in the jury room. Now explain it to me like I'm 5 years old.
So I completely understand that sort of request and respect it. In the IT field, I was creating a guide to walk anybody who read it through a series of commands. When I looked at the guide and I said, okay, somebody is going to call me about this. How do I minimize the amount of phone calls I'm going to receive over my guide? And I realized the only way to do it is assume that the person knows none of what I talk about. So the first thing I did was go, okay, step one, using the mouse, left click from here on, and then in parentheses, from here on out, all clicks shall be left clicks unless otherwise specified. Left click the start button on the Windows computer. Now, I didn't say Windows computer, I just said start button because all the machines that we work with are Windows-based machines. We don't use any other products. But for emphasis, I included a screenshot of the start button. And I included screenshots with every single step. In some cases, a screenshot would be for 2 or 3 steps, and it would have edits on them so that they'd have arrows with the number on the arrow for the bullet point. 13A, 13B, 13C. So do. And what somebody else said, oh, well, you could really shorten that into 1 page, was a 5-page guide. I sent my guide out. And the reason why I sent this guide out was because there was a guide created by the group I work for everybody else. And it was about a 2-page guide with some pictures and a lot of assumptions made about the level of competence of the person reading it and technical know-how. I know the people I work with. I know many of them can work with the original guide, but I know there were a lot that could not. And all I received back from my people over my guide was, wow, this is great. Thank you so much. We love it. So I immediately sent it out to other people who work in other various program groups who do the same job that I do. Thank you so much for making this. This is exactly what we asked to be made and never received. Because it literally walks step 1, click the start button. Step 2, click here. Step 3, type this without the quotes. Just type what's inside the quotes or copy and paste from this document. And so on and so on and so on and so on. And this is the confirmation you should receive. If you do not receive this, don't do anything else. Immediately contact the desk. Don't touch anything on your screen. Allow them to remote in so they can see it for themselves. So on and so forth and so on and so forth. And I even got some feedback, some unexpected stuff, which I ended up altering the guide for. The other thing that was sent out by the other group was had gone through 19 revisions. Mine went through 2. Guess which one people liked better?
The one that didn't make assumptions.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You cannot presume the person you're talking to has the same, operating from the same seat of knowledge you are, even if you went to the same school. Okay? Because maybe the information that you both learned, for one of you, didn't stick.
Yep. And this is not going to sound like it kind of works together with it, but I think I can actually say it kind of does. Stephanie's saying the sad point, and talking about the political stuff going on over there again, the sad point is that the lying candidate is actually a decent person. The old adage about it takes religion to make a good person do bad applies. Their religion is their party.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to use that to also kind of very clearly state, we don't... All right, I'm speaking on behalf of all of us. So, yes, I'm making a little bit of an assumption that you guys are going to agree with me. Otherwise, you'll otherwise have your Saturday nights
we're
free.
On the same page. We will speak up if we disagree.
or you'll be kicked off the show. That's perfectly fine. That we, generally speaking, do not think that political parties are in and of themselves cults. We do, however, I believe, as a group, agree that there are cults who have tried to infiltrate and take control of very specific, idealistically inclined political organizations of a much more elephantine style here in the States. The capital C conservatives.
I think the ones that are elected now, I think we can go ahead and safely call them a cult. They're behaving like one.
The cultists are the ones who are the problem.
Yes.
It's not the party itself. And I'm saying this very
cultists.
I'm
There
saying
are some cultists.
yes. I'm saying this very carefully because the Republican Party had things that they believed were going to be for the betterment of the American populace as a long-term goal. But somewhere along the way, come the 50s, the infiltration started. And that's when all of the idealism got squeezed like blood out of a stone to be pushed aside for the ideologicals. Now, I'm not the best guy in history. I'm not the best guy in history, but when you consider that, groups like the Church of Scientology infiltrated groups in the government, the federal government, in order to get rid of unfavorable documents with the IRS and get dirt on other people, you kind of wonder what organized religious groups are willing to do. And we've seen it because wedge document, because creationism, because school boards, because not giving marriage licenses in Buckwater, nowhere, Kentucky. We see this stuff happening, and that's the problem. It's not the opposing political organization. It's the cultists in them, because there are still some guys in the Republic. What the hell No, this was just the coffee. In the Republican Party, are still going ahead and saying, "Look, they're making a case. It's our duty and it's our responsibility to look at the shit that's going on, and we need to do what's right." The problem is they're fewer and farther between.
Yeah.
But they're there. So, small as it might be, I still have some hope that there are still some people who are, how shall I put it, the closest thing to statesmen that we've got.
Yes. And the word you're looking for, the people you're wanting to, deal with these days, are the moderates.
That's sad.
No,
the sad that we have to even go looking for these people.
Yeah, because these days on both sides of the fence, it's now the cults of personality that are driving the parties, which is why you're looking at so many of these things these days, and it's nothing but a gong show.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're either on one side or the other, and everybody else in the middle just gets squashed out.
Yeah, and if you're so much as if you're a hair off the extreme ideal on either side, you are immediately the enemy. It's almost a binary these days.
Yeah.
It's like if you're so much as a hair to the right of one person, you're this. If you're so much to the left of this person, you're that. And thankfully, I'm grateful that there are still that the majority of the people out there are still the moderates, so that when all of this comes crashing down, and it will, because this extremism on both sides is not going to last. It can't.
Yeah, hopefully the moderates will pick up the pieces.
Well, for crying out loud, look at the excuse me, look at the Democratic primary right now.
It's a clown car.
But it's worse than that. Okay, Ouroboros would look at this and go, "Y'all are crazy."
Well,
the party is eating itself alive right now, to the point where whoever comes out on top is going to be 3/5 of a human being after having the other 2/5 torn off of them. Like, are they honestly ready for 2020? They won't be. And worse yet, whoever wins is not going to have the entire party or the entire voting populace behind them. Because you've got your Bernie Busters, you've got your I imagine Elizabeth Warren has her group. AOC has her group.
You know what? Hold on to that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what happens in the next 6 months.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Now, if there's one thing that we know, when you go after a group for trying to push them to do something, to become an activist in some way or other, in this case specifically to become a voting bloc, the further out you get, the cooler the heat is when you finally get to the finish line. There's a balancing act. I think what the timetable is going to be looking like is, at this point, get all the ideas out there. Find out what is going to be something that people will want to be behind, properly so. Who is actually really the one that's going to be closest aligned with that? Once we've got that, lock that in, hold those ideals, and push to get every damned possible voter registered. Keep them on the rolls. Do anything possible to make sure that they simply go out there and flood the polling stations. Because, as many others have said, here in the U.S., when the masses go out there to vote, the country votes blue. Overall, overwhelmingly, you get more. You get more progressives, more Democrats, because that's what tends to be. But is it currently looking like crap? Granted. But there's time. We've seen what happens when all goes to crap because people didn't organize. I know.
Well, I think another thing people need to do too is make sure before the election that they are still on the voting rolls, since so many people are being kicked off for no good reason. Verify that they're on there.
Yep, I voted in the one, was it earlier this month? Yeah, and yeah, I'm there. I've been going since I moved out here.
Yeah, but even continuing to go, since there's been so many hijinks, that's no guarantee. I would have people sure that they're still on the rolls.
Oh, I know, but I've still got my card. And I'm going to keep my card, and I'm going to make sure that, I've been coming. I've got my card, and if that's been a problem for the last 15 years, then we're going to have words. And well, I know where I live, it's mostly a red area because I'm out in the freaking sticks. But this.
And people need to verify their voting locations, because there will be robocalls going out telling you the wrong date, the wrong place, things like that. That's by design.
Paper ballots are good, but that's a whole other thing. We're at the top of the hour. We gotta wrap to get things going, because as much as I would have liked to have really stayed on topic, Pink 5 did not do that tonight.
Yeah,
There's an
nature
old
of the
reference.
beast.
There's an old reference for some people. Was it Pink 5? Yes, it was Pink 5.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Some people right now are just going, what the does this have anything to do with that bed dragon? What the hell is it? Don't worry about it. It's later. I will take you at your word currently. Anyway, sorry. Follow the money. At first, I misread that, tripping. I thought it said follow the Monday, and I'm like, what's got to do with money? What? Oh, money. Thank you.
I'm so tired of hearing that phrase. Follow the money. Follow the money. Like we have access to somebody else's bank records.
Well, okay. Finish. You know what? Since we got to wrap, whatever your final thought is, Tech, keep going with it and finish off what piece you want to do.
I
there.
know that in some cases, when some people say follow the money, they're referring to legitimately available public records. But in many other cases, we have people who say follow the money. That person's paying that person off, and we have no way to prove it because we don't have access to those people's bank accounts. Most of the time, I hear somebody tell me to follow the money. It's the latter case. I don't have the ability to follow that person's money. Their private finances are private. These are not public records because they're not a public person. And,
Excuse me.
and they're like, well, you're just not looking hard enough. I was like, no, you don't understand. If it's private finances, I'm not going to try getting into their private finances because they're private. Okay? So if you want to convince me that the certain, whatever it is that you're trying to say is true, and your only evidence to me is follow the money, sorry, fuck right off.
Sorry about that. I just suddenly realized the quote that I was thinking of was History of the World Part 1, not Blazing Saddles. Monet. That's what I was going for. But I didn't know how to get the E with the unicorn horn on it. I don't know what it's called. Leave me alone. But has your voting district changed? No. Where I live, like I said, I'm out in the freaking sticks, man, and it's town hall. Fortunately, there really aren't any other places, because for me, town hall also doubles as the local sheriff's substation. Yeah. It's small. And for the record, by the way, I miss the old metal voting booths. Oh my God, I miss those.
Oh boy, you'd hate what we do.
Please tell me that you guys are basically doing the same thing that we do, which is here's a big ass Scantron sheet and mark your ovals. All good? Good. Slide it into the machine. Machine logs it and keeps the paper.
Nope. We have
Better
touch
yet.
screens.
Oh God.
Fuck that
okay.
noise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rocking it old school.
Do tell.
First, I go online and put in my postal code, which is the Canadian zip code.
Right.
And that tells me, now that can tell me where my polling station is or where I can go and advance poll, which means vote a few days ahead of the election when it's convenient for me. You know, whichever one. I show up with a card that I receive in the mail stating that this is where you're supposed to go. This is your number. I hand them my number. They say, okay, you're in line X. Go there. I show up. I flash them my driver's license or some other piece of ID with a photo on it to say that this is me. They cross-reference with their list, and with a pen, they mark me as present. They hand me a slip of paper. I go to a, not metal, but cardboard sheltered booth that is actually facing the crowd. My back is to the wall.
Yep. Kind of the same way that I do.
Yeah, and then there's a list of 4 or 5 candidates there, each representing a different party. I take the number 2 pencil that's supplied. I mark an X in the one that I want to choose. I fold it back up. I hand it to the lady who takes the cards. She stamps it or does something to say that, yes, this is a legitimate card. I take it and I put it in the box. They thank me for my service and I walk out. No touchscreens, no black box voting machines, no Scantrons, no light pens, no nothing.
Wow, light pens.
It's a list. Well, it's a
Shit.
list. Yeah, it's a list. It's a pencil, and it works. Now, I will grant you that there are more people living in the state of California than in the entire country of Canada. So, manual vote counting along that lines does kind of make, for us logistically, it's still possible. But even so, something as important as choosing your next leaders, I'd be wanting to go with something that's reliable and as least tamperable, I know I just killed that word, as possible. And also not coming up with voting cards that it looks like you're voting for this person, but because of the alignment and everything, you're actually a person. Because honestly, if you're that desperate to do something like that, that says a whole lot more about that particular political party than it does about anything else.
Dalan, do you have wow. Do you have a rough recollection of what your country's current overall head count is? Roughly?
Give me a second.
No. Just off the top of your head.
I want to say about 30 million.
According to this, 37?
Yeah, 37.5 million.
Yeah. Because I just pulled it up. California is 39.6.
What did I tell you?
Yeah. I never really thought about it in those terms. Damn.
Yeah, as another, okay, so Tech, you hate the term follow the money. Here's another one that I'll hate. Let that sink in. We have roughly 1/10 of your guys' national population.
Yeah.
So it also means that, we got a crap ton of real estate around here, although a lot frozen.
Well, none of it. What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's at least all the elections I've been in the past 20 some years that I've voted, it's always been a paper ballot with a pencil. I've never had to push a button, or like I said, and the other thing too is that the paper ballot I'm given, it's pretty. There's the name, there's a circle, and there's a line. There's a line you could draw between them to show that it's perfectly lined up. And that all these hijinks about, like I said, misaligned ballots or computer ballots that you will instantly flip from one candidate to another, although I don't know if that's ever been proven.
I think it has happened a couple
like
times.
I said, if it has happened, if proof exists, okay, fine. If I see that proof, then fine. I'll say, okay, that's fine. I'm willing to take an open mind on that. And I think in this age of convenience and things like that, like I said, you're talking about the leader of your country or the leader of your state. This is not something I would put into the hands of anything that is potentially unreliable, like a computer program or a touch screen or something that somebody can just go in and with a flick of their wrist, change your vote from blue to red. That to me just, And honestly, between that, voter restrictions, and everything else, that tells me right there that political parties don't give a damn about the people they're trying to govern. They just want the power.
Yep.
They want access to the purse strings so that they can get their, solid gold golf rack or whatever. It's to them, it's not about serving the people. It's about just being king of the hill of shit.
Well, it's very lucrative for them.
Mm-hmm.
Good, Brigid. Keep going and finish yourself off, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say it's lucrative for them. They keep power as long as they want to. They, have spouses they can work some inside deals with to make some money and then get out and get a lobbying job and make millions. Most of the people that are in Congress here are multimillionaires. We only have like a couple who are not. It's just really sad. And, sometimes I think it's gotten ridiculous to the point that we almost need UN observers to come in and supervise our elections. It's gotten that bad.
Man, that's a something right there, Nat.
But I think we need it.
Topic-wise, the whole idea was that, I want people to understand that I want to be convinced. I want them to be convincing. And until they're convincing, I can't side with them, but I'm not going to side against them. And you know what? I had something that has ended up being convincing tonight that's kind of changed the way that I feel about something. And I honest and truly did not expect that to have happened. I was talking about somebody put in the chat, so I remember about this, that I need the Schoolhouse Rock 19th Amendment Suffrage. They have a scene in this video which is about women's suffrage here in the United States, which is coming up on its 100th anniversary. Yeah, it took a long time for them to finally say, "Oh, well, women having the right to vote. Sure, yeah, I guess we can finally do that. It's only been I don't know a super long time. Yeah, white women though, can't be given to everybody, because I mean that would what the hell." Anyway, they have a scene where women go into the voting booths, and it is the old style voting booths like we used to have here in New York. As a matter of fact, a good majority of them were manufactured here in the Buffalo, New York area. So, I never knew that until I moved up here. But they were the great ones. They were a big metal box with two curtains that you stepped into the booth, you grabbed the handle, wrenched it over, and the curtain would close behind you so nobody could see what you were doing. And a whole bunch of little metal pieces that you could, tick over, tick, 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 and whatever it was you were voting for, it was another tick that you put over in there. And once you made sure that you had everything ready to go, you grab the handle, wrench it back. Everything gets logged. All the ticks get put back into their original starting point, and all the numbers go via machination, not electronics, machinations, to a counter that counts the numbers up, and it's ready for the next person. I loved that. I saw that my entire life until only the last couple of years. I never thought about how wrong that was. I never really even considered it. I never thought that there's no way of tracing back if there was a mechanical problem, if a rod got bent and it didn't count correctly. Because these giant adding machines, which is effectively what they were, they had to be meticulously maintained and mechanically set up in order to count the votes that were being put in. But there's no, forgive me for wording it this way, no paper trail. I had spoken with my kid that I would love for there to be the opportunity for these things to be brought to high schools so that the high school kids could have their own voting, so they could see at that age, where are they? What did your school vote? Where did things go? So that they would have an idea, so that they would have some investment in knowing what was going on, as opposed to voting for, does the Trix rabbit get Trix in his bowl this year? Yeah, I voted for that one. Don't ask what year. It was a long time ago. I think it had something to do with Reagan at the time. Yeah, we watched him get shot too, by the way. Yeah, there's a whole other fiasco and all that. But you know what? We never really thought about it. The current voting computers are not too much different than the big-ass voting machines that I remember growing up with, that my parents went to. You got a touch screen? It's the same damn thing. The only difference is you can actually see what's happening if there's some hinky stuff as soon as you touch. You can at least do something about that. So I'm totally on board. I'm completely and utterly on board that there should always be a paper trail. There should always be a paper ballot. And no, I'm not talking about these punch out the pieces with a hole punch. Nah, man. You get a pen, you get a paper, you got your circles, fill them in. The machines, in order to collate them and quickly put in preliminary data, I can accept that so long as the paper ballots are still completely verified before the state certifies, so that you can get your preliminaries. But then you have to go ahead and say, okay, today we're making sure that everything checks. And if everything checks and everything jibes, great, done. Certified, done, stamp. And if there's not, then somebody needs to go out there and go, okay, who is pulling some hanky shit? But I'm not convinced. Nothing's changed as far as to trying to use machines to collate the votes in almost 100 years. The only difference is that you now see it with photons instead of a hunk of metal. There's no difference. Except that maybe we're getting sick and tired of all the extra. Just do it nice and simple. You got a thumb? You got an ink blot? Put it down where you want it. Is that the best of ideas? No. But at least people know that you voted, because you can always shove it in their face. Just remember, use your thumb. Polite company, huh? We got to get out of here, and I think that I need a little extra sleep tonight because I had a long day today. So let's go ahead and say goodnight for everybody. UnrenownedTech, thank you for your time, and you try to have yourself a warm sleep tonight, eh?
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
No worries, man. Always good to hear it. And for what it's worth, the phone doesn't do too bad with this.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Brigid, You have yourself a good sleep too. Rest well. No pneumonia for you this week, please.
No, don't want that. I'm not sick, so yay. It's just cold.
Fair enough. You guys gonna have a show Monday night with Beyond the Trailer Park?
Yes, we are at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. Have no idea what the topic is yet because Beth hasn't decided, but we'll talk about something.
Perfect. And before we get over to Dalan, stuff going on over in the chat. You know, I didn't want to mention it, but Trippin had gone ahead and pulled out Dimpled Chads.
Yes.
For those of you that don't have any clue what we're talking about with the term Dimpled Chads, I'll put the wiki entry because that qualifies as one of the worst months in my country's history.
Yes.
But we'll deal with that later. Dalan, congratulations. You changed my mind on something that I had a long running history with, and I don't know if I should thank you or head. I can't headbutt you. I don't have any way of. Okay, you know what? Just thank you.
Okay. What did I change your mind on?
The voting machines.
Oh.
I always loved the big metal boxes, and I can't support those anymore as much as I'd like to.
Well, again, anything that automates or adds a layer of complexity to something as fundamental as voting, to me is a bad thing, because if you add a layer of an unknown element to something like that, that means that somebody might know how to exploit it to their own ends.
Don't we know it?
Yeah. And, again, I'm not trying to push any kind of conspiracy theory here with that, but it's just that, again, like I said before, this is not something that should be taken lightly.
No.
A lot of people took it lightly last time. Look what happened.
Ours is definitely susceptible to hacking, and there is proof that, at least at the state level, just about everybody's machines were hacked and their databases.
Yeah. So, again, do you really need that extra ball waxing session that you can't pay for, a bunch of one-time people to come in and just count the damn paper ballots?
Yeah.
Is it really that bad? Or do you absolutely need that extra luxury item for whatever reason that you can't afford, like I said, a one-time thing to bring in people who know how to count? And I'm letting that hang right there.
Dalan.
Yes.
Did you say scrotal did you say ball waxing?
I did indeed say ball waxing.
Did you just then say let that hang there? I've already gone through all the bullshit that I had to in order to tell goddamn Google that, yes, we don't make content for kids. Do you really have to go ahead and do this to me?
Okay, hold on. Now, to be fair.
No. Contraction, to be fair. Contraction, you
the description or the subject of the scrotal debilitatory procedure and the letting something hanging was actually unrelated.
Damn it! It's not Friday night. I can't use it. I gotta start a new list.
Tell you what, let's dog you that one for next Friday, and then you get at it.
You know, we're not gonna.
Anyways, no. What I was saying about letting it hang there is about getting people who could count. But we've already talked about the educational system such as it is. So I didn't want to go down that particular avenue.
You don't like that hang there. You don't want to go down. You're tearing me apart, Dalan. It's just.
www.twitch.tv/holycrapthevlogcast coming January 1st because YouTube is getting rid of us.
If you have complaints, remember that's 1300 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York 14222. Dial carefully and good luck. Piss off.
I thought it was dialed carefully and good luck.
Shut up. It's my show. I don't care. Fuck y'all. Yeah, Dalan has all the audio, so
Yeah, and
him.
actually just recently updated the audio version of the show over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. I fell behind a little bit. In my defense, I was out of town. But yeah, tonight, while I had some time, I kind of did a little something in the background.
Well, considering you've got like 16 threads of power to work with.
I have the bandwidth.
There's that.
And hey, I work in the technology field. When I buy a computer, I don't mess around.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I also do my best to make sure that I don't spend too much money because, that Threadripper was looking so good.
Don't start.
Anyways, and as for any other random thoughts I might have, streams of consciousness, otherwise you can catch that over at inthewind.yo5.ca.
Thank you, I guess. Oh, great. Now, oh, God. Folks, remember, if you're going to go ahead and do scrotal depilation, don't sugar it. Don't do that. Don't.
Yeah, no neat, no nair.
No, specifically sugar. Don't do that. Sugar. Ladies, especially, don't. No.
Make sure the wax is not too hot.
That sound you heard was things retreating.
No. See, there's a joke. The way to tell the difference between someone who's kinky and someone who's a nerd is to have them define the term dungeon master.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So
point.
I will. I on advice of counsel, I'm gonna shut the fuck up right about now because yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that you know what? No. You all want to ask? You can ask later. And I will be sure to double talk it because I have no idea how to properly answer that. Since Dalan mentioned it, please take a swing over to the website anyway, because all of our social media links are available for you right from over there. The phone number, if you want to leave a voicemail message, is 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. Or if you're over there in the UK and it's easier for you, 859-4288-554. How the fuck you people actually understand that, I don't get. I promised I wasn't going to be doing that, but it's almost the end of the year and I got to piss off Santa somehow. All you guys over there in the live chat, thank you. That side, sorry. Thank you very much. So, Stephanie, Trippin, Phyllis, thank you. Ivan, I know that you haven't been chiming in at this point. If you have still been there, thank you. We do appreciate it. And you, again, do have yourself a good day. I'm trying to figure out what Trippin is doing over here with all these monkeys. I don't want to know. I don't know. On behalf of all of us here at HCTV, if you're not sure if you are registered to vote, check. If you're not sure where your election place is supposed to be, check. Have you already gone through and made sure of all of these things? Double check. Yes, we have our leanings. We make no surprise about that generally speaking, we qualify in the liberal, lowercase l liberal area, or the lowercase p progressive area. However, we are also the ones who will say, we want everybody to vote. As many people as should. Not because we think we're going to win because of that, but because it's the right thing to do. Keep that in mind. And thanks. You all have yourselves a good night. We hope that you had yourselves a fun time. Have fun thinking over the stuff that we've got. And we will be back to talk with you guys next week. Oh, I'm trying to remember what is going on with the schedule. Next week
I won't be available next week.
Okay.
I have too much going on family.
Okay. I didn't look at it before. At the moment, it doesn't look like we have any holidays interfering with our current schedule. So that works out well. We will talk to you guys next week then. So until that point, take care, enjoy, please drive safely, and as always, until the next time we get together, everyone, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And my lady, too damn many years later, and yeah, I got to visit the old band room. I am still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.